Hey, what is up everyone? Hayden here with the System Mode, and I have some awesome news today from the RPG and indie front, so get ready for a bunch of cool news. Alright, so to get us started today, I want to talk a little bit about Nintendo's new peripheral. I'm not sure if we should call it a new peripheral, revived peripheral from the 90s. So this is the Virtual Boy, and it can connect to Switch and Switch 2, and it also allows you to play Virtual Boy games using your Switch. So you can actually fit the Switch into the new Virtual Boy peripheral and try them out and see how the 3D looks today. I remember when this came out in the 90s, I was young and I did not have a lot of discretionary income for things like a Virtual Boy. However, I did try it out at Blockbuster, for those of you who remember Blockbuster, and it was pretty cool. I played the Mario Tennis game, and I really thought that the 3D was epic and impressive, but you know, the Virtual Boy was just a very short-lived console, and it really didn't have any of the IPs that I especially was getting into at the time, so it just didn't seem like a good purchase for me for them. With that being said, now that the Virtual Boy has come back out, I want to talk a little bit about it. So the original Virtual Boy was released in 1995, and it's a tabletop VR system that has red and black stereoscopic visuals. So some of the issues related to user experience that were noted with the Visual Boy was things like eye strain, headaches, and some challenges related to game support as well at the time. So for those of you who have played VR, you know eye strain is a really serious issue because VR requires a high frame rate, and it also uses some optical illusions which can kind of strain and tax the eye more than a standard console gaming experience with the television. So when it comes to the Virtual Boy now, I'm really interested that they're bringing this back almost in a slightly experimental capacity. I know previously they had released the Nintendo Labo, which allowed you to use the Switch almost like a VR headset for very specific games. There's I think like 4 or 5 games that use the Labo. So I'm a little curious now if Nintendo is experimenting with VR, if they want to see the interest that surrounds the Virtual Boy, if it can do better than the Labo, or if the Labo did better, and you know, really just to understand what direction VR is headed in, and maybe this is a chance for Nintendo to explore that and experiment on that using really their best-selling console of this generation. So the Virtual Boy is out now, and you can purchase it and try it out for yourself. I want to talk a little bit about some of the UX considerations for the new Virtual Boy. I'm curious how they have worked with the stereoscopic depth, if they have improved any of the spatial awareness aspects, if they can enhance some of the immersion. I'm also really curious if they are going to address some of the challenges of the previous system, like things like eye strain, and if there might be a way that they can even enhance the Virtual Boy further with some new features like higher contrast. And as you can see, they have already allowed you to alter the color of the Virtual Boy. If red is a challenge for you to see, they've got other colors for you. So it's awesome to see how they've included some more accessibility settings with the Virtual Boy, and I'm really just excited to see where this is going from here. And I will probably not be purchasing this one right away, but I am interested to try it out. If I see it at GameStop or at another retailer, I'll probably try it out. I might give it a little antibacterial spray first before I try it out though. Ys Proud Nordics. So what is Ys X Proud Nordics? Its release date is coming February 20th. It is kind of like the complete version, or not really a remaster, but a full package of Ys X Nordics, which came out in 2024. So this will be Ys X Proud Nordics will be coming out for PS5, Switch 2, and Windows. And this is essentially like a definitive edition of Ys X Nordics. There are some added side content to it. There's a new island, there are enhanced story elements, and they've polished some of the gameplay systems as well to make it a little bit more accessible, a little more playable than the 2024 version. Ys X Nordics introduced some new things into the Ys series, like naval exploration between islands, a dual protagonist system with Adol and Karja, linked combat mechanics, and a semi-open world progression with boat travel. Proud Nordics is going to really build on that. So it's got an expanded narrative side story, there's an additional explorable island, and there's polished combat flow with refined traversal systems. This is really like the complete Ys X Nordics experience. If you haven't checked out Ys X Nordics, then this could be a good way to get into it. You don't have to worry about buying a single game and then a bunch of DLC afterward, tons of purchases. You can just focus on really one edition, have the complete experience, and jump right into Ys from there. So one thing that I really like about the UX is some of the naval traversal of the game. The map hierarchy, the objective tracking complexity, and also the fast travel logic really help to improve the UX experience for players. Those of us who play open world games don't mind jumping into a huge open world and exploring it, figuring things out as we go, and seeing where things head. But I know for some players that can be a little intimidating. It's easier for players to start with maybe a smaller map that then expands so that that intimidation factor is reduced. I'm thinking of Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, which I've been playing recently. Check out some of my live streams. And, that really does this great. You start off with a small island that feels very approachable, very learnable, and then it slowly expands into more and more islands. That island setup in Ys X is very similar. I would really like to see Proud Nordics improve on a few areas of Ys X Nordics, such as the menu responsiveness. Also the combat readability. Sometimes the font would get rather slow in the combat. There's a lot going on in the combat as well. Tons of numbers popping up onto the screen and so forth. It can get a little visually overwhelming and also increase the cognitive load quite a bit. To the point where, the numbers stop really meaning much because you don't understand exactly how much damage you're doing and how many HP the enemy has and so forth. So I'm hoping that Ys X Proud Nordics will improve on some of this and make it just a little bit more clear and accessible. This, if they pull it off, could be one of Falcom's new main RPG franchises, and I'm really looking forward to the continuation of Ys X in Falcom's catalog. Speaking of Falcom, I do have another game that I would like to talk about. It's a little bit of older news, but I didn't get a chance to cover it yet. It's one of my absolute favorite game series. It is Trails in the Sky Second Chapter. So, if you haven't finished Trails in the Sky First Chapter, first of all, you should, because it's an amazing game. But I will recommend that you skip this, because there are definitely some spoilers in the announcement trailer. It's a little bit hard to go on to Second Chapter without discussing some of the events of First Chapter. Those of you who have played it know exactly what I'm talking about. So, let's get this rolled up here. I have to say I'm really excited for Second Chapter because as a fan of the series who started in the 2000s with the PSP version, I didn't really get a chance to play Second Chapter. It took a long time for that game to be localized, and by the time it was, I think it was released as like a Steam version, and I didn't really get a chance to go back to Trails. They had already kind of progressed to many other Trails games at that point. I felt like I'd kind of lost the series, and First Chapter was a great opportunity for me to start the series fresh, feel like I can really learn the characters and learn the world without it so overwhelming, starting off with a sequel. So if you're digging into Second Chapter for the first time, like me, then I think you're going to really, really enjoy this update. The localization was amazing for First Chapter. The voice acting was some of the best voice acting that I've actually really heard in a video game. I thought that they just did an absolutely incredible job with that. And Second Chapter is really one that I'm greatly looking forward to. As you see in the gameplay trailer, there's actually some footage from the original PSP version of Second Chapter, and they're showing how it gets updated for the new version. So you can kind of just see how they've really added a lot of 3D animations and just some cool effects to the game to increase the visual appeal and modernize it for new players. If you're not familiar with Trails in the Sky, it is a Japanese role-playing game that is turn-based, but also based on positioning. So where you position your characters on the field really matters a lot. Similar to games like Valkyrie Profile or say Fire Emblem, the certain enemies will be able to reach you or not depending on where you are, and there are area of effect attacks that can hit multiple players if they're close to one another. Similarly, your characters have area of effect attacks, so you have to kind of plan out strategically where you're positioned. In addition to an awesome battle system with a really expansive system of orbments, which are kind of like almost like materia from Final Fantasy VII. They level up with you, and you through the orbments gain new skills and powers. They also have a really strong story. These are characters that you feel engaged with from the very beginning. They just warm your heart, and you end up really rooting for them throughout the series. So I'm really excited to see where their adventures have left off, and I like the idea of kind of giving Estelle a little bit more opportunity for the limelight, a little bit of an opportunity for her to step out of the dual protagonist role and into the main protagonist role for second chapter. I think Estelle's ready for it. She just is an awesome character, and someone that I feel like I would be friends with Estelle. I'd be friends with Joshua probably. So these are people characters in games that are crafted so lovingly that you just feel like you are a part of the world. You feel almost like you're just rooting for them to succeed. In addition to that, Trails has a very political backstory. So there's kind of an intercontinental conflict that's been going on in the game. I don't want to get into too many spoilers, but definitely if you're someone who enjoys that political intrigue and those epic sorts of tales of, war and intercontinental conflict, this is something that might appeal to you for that. What the preview shows, so taking a look at this preview, we see that we have an emotional continuation of the first chapter ending, and we have a lot of the same characters returning for second chapter. It's really nice to see them again. It seems like there's higher stakes. It's got a little bit of a darker tone than first chapter, and we can also see that they've expanded the combat system somewhat, quite a bit well. So I'm hoping that the emotional hit of first chapter is going to lead to a really strong drive through second chapter to get that narrative started early. Some of the unique aspects of this game are, as I mentioned, there's a turn-based combat system with positioning. There's an orbment customization system, which is really in-depth. And then in addition to that, there's layered NPC dialogue that evolves across several chapters. So if you're a player who really likes a lot of dialogue in their games, likes a lot of storytelling and opportunity to interact with the characters more, similar to like a Tales game, this is going to give you that as well. I know some people have commented a little bit on the narrative bloat. For me personally, I didn't feel like it was too over the top. I remember feeling that way playing Xenosaga, a couple of the Tales entries. But with this game, for some reason, it really didn't bother me that much. I just enjoyed the game through and through, and I wanted to know more about the characters, and I didn't mind engaging with them more. Some UX considerations for second chapter. I know that Trails games really struggle from a UX department when it comes to the complexity of their menus. So in the original games, the menus were really dense, and even in the updated version, I found it a little bit challenging to navigate the menu, especially the orbment system, as the orbments are contained in like a brooch that then you have to press another button to open. And I would just really like to see that a little bit more streamlined in the second version so that it's easier to access your orbments, something that you use really throughout the game. And I found myself kind of like wondering what button to press to access the orbment as I was playing. I think it would be pretty cool if that was something that was just like a one button access from the menu directly, especially since it's used so much. In addition to that, I think that they really would benefit from some text scaling as well. Sometimes the text could be a little bit small. I would appreciate the opportunity to increase the text size somewhat. And in addition to that, I really like the idea that maybe we can add an assist mode to Trails. So I know that you can alter the difficulty a little bit, but it's not very flexible. So if you are playing at a certain difficulty level and you want to make it easier, you realize it's a lot harder, especially toward the end of the game than you'd like for a game to be, and you're looking for something a little more digestible, then adding an opportunity to alter that mid-game I think would be really cool. Similarly, if you started the game in an easier mode, but you find that you're doing really well and you're enjoying it and it's not providing you as much of a challenge as you're looking for, then moving into a harder mode I think would be something that would be really cool for players to be able to do even from the middle of the game. So in addition to that, I think we can maybe speed up the battles a little bit. I know that they have made several updates to the original, or to the new Trails first chapter that allowed you to play it both as a turn-based but also kind of as an action RPG where you attack the monsters from outside of the battle screen and you can still gain experience that way. I thought that was an awesome addition, and I would really just enjoy more opportunities to simplify even the action RPG components so that they're just a little bit more accessible for all players. Overall, this is an amazing series. I can't recommend it enough. Falcom has been producing quite a bit of bangers recently, and if you didn't play first chapter, definitely go back and play it because it's an awesome game. Truly one of my favorites of last year. Alright, moving on. Pokémon Pokopia. Who's excited for Pokémon Pokopia? I know I am. This has like really 3 of my favorite video games combined into one because I love Pokemon. I am an OG Pokemon player from when I was a boy. I played the heck out of Pokemon on Game Boy. And what I love about Pokemon is also just the speed at which they are releasing new entries, especially back in the day, always gave me something new to look forward to and to explore what new Pokemon might be in the game. And with Pokopia, it also combines aspects of, as you can see, a block building world like Minecraft. So similar to Minecraft, it's really blocky, which means that each block is kind of a unit that you can maybe terraform. You can, if you want, break the block, build a new one, and so forth. And it also combines some elements of Animal Crossing as well. So Animal Crossing, if you don't know, is a popular life sim game from Nintendo where you play as a character living on an island village, interacting, and it's actually synced with real time. So if you play in the afternoon, it's going to be the afternoon in the game as well. Absolutely love that mechanic. It's one of my favorites. I played not the original Animal Crossing, but the GameCube version back when I was like in high school. I remember waking up at 3 in order to get special fish and insects that could only be found at specific times of day. And I'm really hoping that Pokopia is going to bring that level of detail, to bring that aspect of the real-time sync so that, you can engage players, but also do things that are a little bit impossible to do if it weren't for that mechanic, like making certain things accessible in certain times of year, times of day. I think it's really awesome. I do have some small criticisms of Pokopia. The first is a little bit the character design. I have to say I find the premise a little dark. Like, it's a Ditto character who remembers its former trainer and then transforms into that form. It's a little sad to me that the Ditto has been left behind. I'm hoping that actually this might become a part of the narrative of the game. Like, we find out what happens to the Ditto's original trainer and they get reunited. I would absolutely love that. In addition to that, I just find the human Ditto to be a little freaky. There's something about the eyes and the mouth that are so Ditto-like, but it really doesn't feel like a human character or like a Pokemon. It feels like something else, some hybrid human animal creature. I don't know exactly how to define the main character of Pokopia in my mind. I know they wanted to create some avatar-like elements so that you can adjust your own character, similar to in Animal Crossing, and a little bit in Pokemon here or there, and definitely in Minecraft as well. But I just am wondering ever so slightly about this character design, if it's going to be something that's ultimately going to distract from the gameplay for me, or if it's something that, similar to like Fire Emblem Engage, I was very confused by the initial main character design, and as I played the game, the character warmed up to me, I warmed up to the design. Now it really doesn't bother me that much. I think it's actually pretty cool. So what do you guys think about the Pokopia character design? Is it bothersome to you? Did you notice anything about it? One thing I think is also really fun is that you can interact with the Pokemon. This is similar to like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon if you've played any of those games. Please do if you have not. They're excellent, especially if you like roguelikes. But the being able to interact with the Pokemon in their world and also have them kind of teach you skills that you can then use to adapt your world, I think is a really cool game mechanic. I love the idea of the Pokemon joining you like Animal Crossing villagers. I like the idea of them kind of existing in this world with you such that, that you feel like they're a part of your town, they're a part of your community. I think that's really fun. I know Pokemon has experimented with that in the mainline games a little bit with like your Pokemon following you, some things about the nursery and so forth in those games, but it seems as they've really expanded it here. There's one piece of news that I wanted to talk about, and that is the servers that are going to be released. So in Pokopia, it's going to be possible to have a dedicated server. similar to like in Minecraft. I'm not 100% sure how they're going to implement this on the Switch 2, but similar to in Minecraft where you have a server that you can access at any time that you want, even if the host of the server, the main player, is not there. So for example, and this is awesome from a UX perspective because really it decreases the frustration, it decreases the need for players to be, synced up to one another in real time and coordinate that together when to log in and work together. Instead of going through all of those motions, you just log into your server, you play, whoever's there is there. In addition to that, I really love the idea that a dedicated server will allow less experienced players to get some support at the beginning from more experienced players. When I started Animal Crossing, I had a colleague actually who was a big fan of the series who came onto my island, gave me all sorts of free stuff when I started, and really helped me get my island going with some items that wouldn't have been possible for me to obtain on my own. Similar to Pokopia, I'm really excited for more experienced and less experienced players to work together in order to build up their islands, their world. I'm not exactly sure how big Pokopia is going to go, if it's going to be a whole world similar to Minecraft, or if it's just going to be somewhat limited for continent or island, closer to Animal Crossing. With that being said, I'm also really looking forward to the idea that with a dedicated server, it means that, you can leave and other people can come in and keep, working on your island and so forth. So if, for example, you're not feeling well or it's not possible for you to play for a period of time and maybe your friends want to come in and give you a boost or help you out during that time, you can do that on your server. So I think that's a lot of fun and it definitely increases the replayability. It definitely also makes it a little bit more of a friendly user experience as well. So I'm sure that they put in a lot of work to be able to achieve that for this game. And I also have a strong feeling that there's going to be more game elements in this that we don't know about right now that are going to really draw us in more and more to the Pokopia world. I get the impression that Nintendo is trying to set up a new franchise here, and they're not going to release this game with just bare bones game mechanics. I think they're really planning to do something big here that is expansive with a lot of replayability and something that can build ultimately into, a potential new franchise for Nintendo. So, what do you guys think about Pokopia? Are you looking forward to it? Are you going to get it? Are you planning to use a dedicated server? Is that something that you would take advantage of? I'm really curious if that's something that appeals to you all. All right, last but not least, we have an awesome indie game with a new demo announcement. This game is called Tree Planter. What's awesome about this game, it's a cozy builder, but for every sale of the game, they're actually going to plant a real tree. So for my gamers out there, for my ecologically friendly gamers like myself, I think it's really awesome to support a game and know that it's making a real world impact as well. Plus, the game just looks absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I love the particle effects. The UI, the menu design is stunning. I like that we have this lower panel which has everything that you need to access, and then from there you can access the various sub menus. It's just really neatly laid out, which I like. The colors are gorgeous. I love that there's different seasons that you can see. There's all sorts of animals and interactable components. And as you can see, also some fire, some rain, just the atmospheric effects and the particle effects really look stunning. So for an indie game like this, I highly recommend checking it out because they will be planting trees and wildflowers for every purchase of this game. So if it's something that you feel like you would like, if you're a cozy gamer like myself, you really love games where you can just kind of hang out, build something, watch it grow, and especially for, people who like outdoors activities like gardening and planting, maybe this is something that isn't as accessible to you as it once was, or maybe this time of year, it's not possible for you to get out if you live in an area like me where the winters are really heavy. This game can allow you to have some opportunities to also get out gardening and feel like you're brushing up on your green thumb a little bit as you play. So it's really a beautiful looking game. It just has such an awesome art style to it. Absolutely gorgeous, and I will definitely be checking out the demo. Last but not least, there's a bunch of really good sales going on. I wanted to let you guys know about them because in this economy we can use any sale that we can get. So it looks like almost all of the sales are for Capcom games. At least I'm pretty sure this is from it's from Capcom. There's a huge sale on Capcom games. So a few days ago, I was talking about Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection, which is coming out soon. And you can find the Monster Hunter Stories games, if you haven't played them, on sale now. There are a bunch of games on here that are tons of fun. For those of you who didn't check out the Ace Attorney series on DS and 3DS, check it out now. It's really fun. If you love visual novels and mysteries, that game will be right up your alley. Definitely if you also like legal dramas, you will love Ace Attorney. There's Capcom arcade games, Mega Man for my brutal platformer lovers, and of course the Monster Hunter series available as well as the stories. So absolutely just check those out and see if there might be something on here that appeals to you. And yeah, these sales are absolutely incredible, so check them out. Well, alright everyone, that is it for today. This is all of the news that I wanted to cover. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that this was informative and fun, and come back next time for more news and more game updates. I'll see you there. Have a great day. Bye.